Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating a World Adstrata. This is a world building gameplay series where I take a look at some world building games and try them out in the context of the world of Adstrata, which is the world where my podcast, Escape from Unknowable Conservatory, is based out of. So this kind of gives me an opportunity to, one, try these games, and two, to use different tools to flesh out my world. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a game called Cartograph, which is a storytelling, journaling, map drawing, role playing game. It is created by Brandon Lee. They recently have had a very strong social media push for the physical version of their game. So, one, it's something that I wanted to take a look at. And give a try. And two, if you enjoy this and think it seems like it's fun, now is probably a really good time to pick up a copy. So, just to kind of give a bit of the overview that they provide, Cartograph is a solo journaling RPG about map making, exploration, world building, and resource management. The heart of the game revolves around creating the creation of a map, which you will fill out with details as you play. You'll take on the role of a budding cartographer, arriving in a new land with a blank map book and a desire to explore. So let's head down to the table and take a look at what we have. Okay, so we've gone down to the map. I'm just going to quickly review. Um, we've actually gone ahead and kind of gotten things started to get into the first round. Get things started or forgot to press record, however you want to look at it. But we're just going to go ahead and jump ahead. So we've created our character. Our character is named Astrid Yaw. She is she's a former, she's come on this quest to seek attention, and she's easily amused. She was kind of like a pop star in her old life, even though she has training as a historian. So she's decided to go on this adventure because, so first she saved up enough money to fund her dream of exploration. She's always wanted to do something like this. But in order to do so, she had to leave behind her entire identity. She has a snaggletooth smile and elaborate jewelry. She traveled to this new land on an oceanic vehicle. The journey was perilous and rife with loss, and over the course of the journey, her, for lack of a better term, fantasy keytar got thrown off into the sea. And that was like kind of the last thing that she had remaining from her old life. So she's in this new place, kind of all on her own, just with what she had to begin with. How the game works is, so in each round, so the rounds will kind of guide us through our exploration of this new territory. The first thing that we do is the exploration phase, where we roll dice on the map, and depending on where they land, we will sketch out the. So the game asks, it tells you to draw the coastal lines around these dice. Because we already have an existing map, um, we're going to be drawing like the political borders around these areas and kind of splitting up the regions that way. Um, and then depending on what we roll onto the map, that will determine what kind of is in those areas. Um, so I've already done our first round for us. That's here. So you can see those lines in red. That's where the area around where the dice were thrown. So we've got two forests. Those are the green ones. We've got a city. That's the black flag. And then we've got a discovery, which is the purple question mark. Um, the yellow blob is where we landed. And what we're doing right now is we're going to flip over our first card, and that's going to, so depending on the suit and value of that card, we're going to look at a table, and that's going to tell us what kind of discovery we found here. All right, so our first card is Black Discovery of a Queen. So this area, a shoal inhabited by a strange form of life. Who is braving the shallows here, and how is the life responding? All right, so my head, initially what I think of um, is the image of the stilt walkers from Mad Max Fury Road. So I think there's a kind of group of these people that are like living in these elevated platforms um, that kind of traverse the area on these stilts to avoid the large carnivorous um, fish creatures that live here. And so I get to make the choice between I can gain 2 food or 2 wares. And I'm going to take the food because we're going to need that. All right. So, and we're supposed to journal from the point of view of the cartographer. Um, so I think Astrid is very interested in um, kind of the like these people seem to be like, why are they here? There's carnivorous, you know, giant fish creatures that live in this shoal, and they could easily go further inland, but they've set up this society here where they are able to stay relatively safe, and they're able to utilize this very unique resource. Um, so I think this is a little bit of a comforting location because where she comes from is dangerous and gloomy, and I think that kind of speaks to her. And it says to name the location on your map, and if you're stuck, there's some name generators. Let me look at some of these name generators. And um, there's nothing. Per- no, okay. So let's see. They suggest rolling 3d12. So I've got a 3, an 8, and a 12. And what they have it is they have it split up to um, sorry, I'm moving my mic closer so I can be a little bit quieter. So there's different kind of just like split up words. So this would be uh, Viv Ith Lan. Viviland is the name of this region. All right, so that is the arrival phase. So next, move on to the rest phase. So after a hard day's travel, your cartographer has some downtime. Kick up your feet, talk to the locals, buy some items or supplies, go out hunting, or sell some of your wares. So the first thing we do is lose any temporary die. I don't have any, so we don't have to do anything there. And we lose one remaining die from your die pool. I'm gonna take one of the uh, biome die out. If you're at a settlement, which I know I established is a settlement, but it's not a settlement as they say. Um, you would roll the die and have the results to determine the where's this location. I'm going to say that there's no shopping to do here. And then I get to select two different actions from the appropriate action list, depending on where I ended up. And then I can also spend one of my coins to take a third action. So all right. So in the wilderness, I have the option of camping, conversing, or hunting. I'm gonna join these stilt walkers in a hunt for this creature, and we're gonna see how that goes. So what we do for that is we roll a die and gain that much food. I'm gonna assume they mean a d6. So I gain 3 food, and I lose 1 die of my choice. Um, I'm gonna lose one of the other die, and then I'm going to camp. So I'm gonna lose a food, but I gain a biome die, so I get one of those back. Um, so that's the end of my first turn. So now we just go back to the top of the owner. I can go back to their nice and easy to use cheat sheet. Um, so I'm gonna go with I'm gonna throw my the 2 biome die first. I don't really like how that lies, but let's do. I keep trying to draw on the wrong screen. All right. So, uh, let's see. We have a 2 and a 3, so that's a mountain and a lake. All right. There's a lake already at 3. Perfect. Uh, and 2 is a mountain. There's a mountain. So we have 1 landmark die. All right. And that's four. So that's going to be a city. All right. So we've marked the coastlines, we've consulted the table, and we've returned dice to the pool. So now we're going to choose the location on the map. Um, if it's not the furthest or the closest, then we have to lose a food. I'm going to keep my food. I'm just going to go to the closest location, which is this city here, because that seems like it'd be interesting anyway. So I've done that. Now I have to draw a card. We haven't done this yet because this is not done in the first turn, but let's look at. So we draw a card from the deck and we consult the journey table. Write a short sentence or two describing the journey to this place. This should be brief. So we've left the shoal and traveled to the city. And journey tables. We don't care about anything except for the value, and this is an ace. So the journey had an unforeseen benefit. What helped you whilst traveling? Um, Previously, we have the option of a food or a wear. I think that I'm going to take a wear because I think that uh, we spent some time in the village getting to learn how to use these stilts, and that's allowed us to make some pretty decent timing to get into the city, and just a new means of conveyance. Um, just we found it amusing. I think that kind of lines up with her personality of, yeah, hey, let's try this new fun thing. All right, so now we consult the location table. All right, so this is a yellow ace, so that would be a red card. So a red city prompt for an ace. Um, I find a city overtaken with nature. What bizarre plant have these people cultivated, and what is it used for? Um, so I think that this city has, over time, the encroaching forest from nearby has kind of wormed its way into the city and created these. They're like, let's say, like fist-sized, little like pink um, and purple puff balls that, when you squeeze them, they puff out this mist that kind of has a not hallucinogenic, but a relaxing property to it. Um, so I think that yeah, it's just kind of in the world of our pop star architect turned explorer, I think she's found a natural party drug. Um, and I have the option of gaining 5 food and losing a coin, or an extra action in my next rest phase. I'm going to take the extra action. And then we have to name this location. Let's see if they have anything interesting for city naming. Sure, why not? Let's roll a d20 twice. So we got a 5 and a 16. So that'd be Ravenscar or Northtide. I think Northtide kind of fits a little bit better here, so we're going to go with Northtide. All right, so then we go to the rest phase. We lose all of our temporary die. We're going to lose one remaining die, so we're going to get rid of one of my biome die. But now we're in a... So we are in a settlement, so I get to roll a or a d3, so d6 divided by 2. So 1. Um, so that's the value of wares that are available. And then I get to move on to the settlement rest actions. And I can take 3 of these because of what I discovered here. So I can converse, I can sleep, I can heal, I can restock, I can sell, or I can shop. Um, I'm going to... First thing I'm going to do is sleep. And that lets me gain a biome die, and I can lose a food to gain 1 extra die. So I'm going to do that. Um, let's see. I can restock to gain a food or a wear. I can heal. I don't have any wounds, so I'm all right there. I can converse, where I lose a coin, gain a temporary die, but I'll gain 2 temporary die. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna spend my 1 coin to just hit the town. There's this new party drug. I want to try this out, and Astrid's eager to see what this town has to offer. So she's going to lose a coin and gain 2 temporary die. So those are my 3 actions. No, I did converse. I did sleep. And I'm going to restock. I'm going to gain aware. I'm going to get some of these plants to take with me and hopefully make a little profit. All right. So that's that round. All right. So for this round, I have 3 biome dice. Um, so for this round, I have 3 biome dice, 1 landmark dice, and 2 temporary dice. Temporary dice you can roll and use as either landmark or biome. So I think I'm just going to go full on. We're going to go 3 and 3. So we'll start with the 3 biomes. All right. All right. And a 6 is the same as the closest biome. So that's just going to be another mountain. And then the other 2 I'm going to re-roll. All right. So we got those 2 areas. So we've got the same biome as the nearest one. So this one over here is going to be another lake. And then a 1 is a forest. So we've got a little forest island down here. All right. So we've done that. We've returned the dice to the dice pool. Oh, nope. So we still need to do our 3 landmark dice. So let's roll those. All right. And let's see, we've got, I'm going to say a 1, a 4, and a 2. So 1's nothing. That's easy enough. 4, we got another city. And a 2 is an encampment. That's something new. Just got a little tent. All right. So that's our map. Next, we get to choose a location to go to. Um, we're going to spend a food. We're going to go to not the nearest forest, but this one over here. So let's see what happens. So we've got a red 2, so just a 2. Two on the journey table. My travels were expedited by something unexpected. What quickened my journey and why? Gain 1 reputation. I know I should be adding new things to this, but I think the stilts are going to be the way to go. I think Astrid's really hamming it up on these stilts and really kind of making a big to do of this, and really just trying to, kind of become known for this. Um, you know, she's here for attention, and she got it coming into the city. She got it leaving the city, and now she's traveling major distances on these things and kind of drawing up a little bit of a fan base. So she's going to get to the forest. We have to check. Let's see. It's a red forest. So the forest we arrived at is occupied and guarded. You see watchful eyes as you pass through the area. How do the people here confront you? Gain 1 reputation. Um, so as Astrid arrives, I think the people of the forest are wary of the people to the south, that are kind of in this encampment. But none of them have these stilts, and none of them have any, like, they're ground dwellers, and the people in the forest, they're tree dwellers. And I think they kind of see Astrid's approach as respectful, and they're appreciative of her, not necessarily like plowing a vehicle through here, or kind of taking a more natural, and simplistic approach, and also kind of putting herself on their level. So I think they're appreciative. Um, and I think that kind of helps bolster her reputation, so that, like, everywhere she's going, she's kind of really getting people on her side. All right. So I have to name this location. Um, let's see, what was it? And guarded forest. Um, So I want to do something tall to kind of signify that being above the ground. And so the name of this forest is going to be Talok, Talok, which is just tall oak. All right. So now we move on to the rest phase. We're going to lose our temporary die, and then we have to lose one of the other die. We're going to obviously get rid of one of the biome die there. If you're at a settlement, which I'm not, and then I get to perform 2 rest actions. So in the wilderness, I can converse, so I can lose 1 wear and gain a temporary die. I'll do that. And then so you can either camp or to lose a food and gain a biome die, or hunt to roll a gain food and lose a die. I have some food still, so I will just camp and lose 1 food and gain 1 biome die. All right. So now we're on to the next round. Let's see. So we've got our biome die. We've got 3 of those. We'll roll those first. Let's see. All right. So let's see. We've got 3, which is a river. We've got 4, which is an open land. And we've got 2, which is a mountain. All right. So then we've got, I'll clear those out. And we've got 2 other die. So we've got, nope, there's a way off the map. Let's see. So we've got 3 is a town. T for town. I'm just going to put that on that same little island there. And then 6. And 6 is a discovery. All right. But choose somewhere on the map. I was heading towards that city. I'm going to keep heading in that direction. So go to the mountains. All right. So we're going to draw a card. We've got a red 4. So let's take a look at our journey prompt. With a 4, our travel was slowed by an outside force. What was the cause of this delay? Goats. Just really ornery goats. They didn't appreciate our stilt walking. Okay. And the location table, so it's a mountain. So red mountain. Mountain. Where's the mountain? Red mountain. 4. Peculiar and unnatural. Something about this area feels wrong. What do you notice about the place that invokes this feeling? Um, so while she's been kind of hiking up this mountain, and just constantly being bombarded by goats, they're just everywhere. There's so many of them. But there's also no food and no water. So she's just kind of Estrid's at a loss. She has some training as a historian, so she's not seeing any like old riverbeds or anything like that. It just seems barren, and there's no reason there should be such a large population of animals on this mountain, but there are. Um, Name the location on a map. Astrid's going to call this mountain the Goat's Enigma. All right. So she needs to rest. So first we need to lose her temporary die, then we need to lose one of the remaining die. She's going to go hunting because she's running low on food. So she's going to spend a die to do that. And that's one food. That's wonderful. And then you're going to have to spend a food to gain a biome die. All right. So let's Explore. We've got 2 exploration die this time. Or 2 biome die, I mean. And let's see. Biome 3 is a lake. And a 5 is a settlement. And then we got 1 landmark. Oh. That wasn't a settlement. That's the closest, same as the closest biome. So, guess another lake. All right. So now we've got our 1 landmark, which is I'm not going to draw any map there, but I like putting mysteries in the water. Right. So we've sketched the locations. Now we're going to choose where we're going to go. We're going to continue on to that city. All right, let's draw a card. We've got the Red King. So first we'll take a look at our journey. A king for journey. I was escorted on my journey by helpful people. Why did they help you? Gain 1 coin or 1 reputation. I think Astrid's got to keep going for reputation. And I think people have heard that she was coming through. And they kind of came out and kind of guided her into the city. I think people wanted to see the woman who's been stilt walking her way across massive continent. All right, so now we have a red city. Prompt of king. A prosperous people have harnessed magic that has influenced their architecture. How does this manifest? And what do they teach you? Gain 3 wares or mark a discovery on your map. I'm going to take the wares. Actually, maybe I want discovery. I want to go there next, so I'll take the discovery. Um, but I think, where is it? I think that the people of this city have figured out a way using some of the natural magics of the surrounding area, of really the stones, maybe from Goat's Enigma, maybe from other areas, but they've found a way to kind of harness these into like harness these into floating blocks, and they kind of use them to build one upward or one to build upward, because you can kind of like put one of these and kind of like just let it stay in place and then build off of that as a foundation. So you can just have like a floating house. But also, people use it to kind of, ascend up to a certain height to kind of, get like a good view. And because of that, that's what allows Astrid to see something in the distance that doesn't quite seem like there's a big clearing. She's not sure why, but she definitely wants to go there next. All right. So this is a settlement. So we will roll to see. So that's going to be a 3 for the value. And then we're going to perform 2 actions. So I'm going to sell my wares. So I'm going to sell all my wares and gain 6 coins. That's going to be 1 action. The next one is I'm going to go shopping. We haven't gone shopping yet. So if I'm a city or town, I draw 3 cards. One extra card in a city. 2, 3, 4. And I roll 4 dice, or a dice for each card to determine price. Let's go 6, 4, 5, 2. And then I have to go to page 52 for the items. And I can buy one of them. So the 6 cost item is a magical item. The other ones are all black. So the 4 is a companion. So I get to treat results of nothing on landmark dice as a town. The 5 is medicine. So when I heal, I remove an extra wound. And the 2 is a potion. I may lose the item to take 3 extra actions during my next rest phase. I can buy one of these. So I think Astrid would want a companion, but it kind of gets her nothing. And oh, never mind. Hold on. The last one's not a potion; it's a tool. So when I mark a ruin, I gain a random item. So the other thing she would have gone for was the tool. She doesn't want that either. Um, you know what? I think she's gonna have to. We just got all this money, but I think we're gonna have to spend most of it. I think we're gonna have to take the companion. I think that's what Astrid would do. So we're gonna go down to 2 coin. Um, and I think her companion is. It's like a weird kind of lizard thing that can like I would say it's a combination between like a lizard and a blowfish. I'm kind of imagining the Pokemon Gibble, but like this big just like inflated version of it. And I think it kind of like inflates and can walk around on a leash with it, and so she just kind of carries it. Yeah, she couldn't. She doesn't want something that like walks on the ground because she's up on these stilts, and that's kind of her gimmick. So she wants something that can hang up with her, and so she finds this lizard thing. It's a magical area. There's magical people and stuff there. Why not? His name is Doug. Dug. This city is the city's name is Reach. All right. Um, now this would really wipe me out. Can I gain any reputation? No. All right. We'll just move on to the next phase. So got 2 biome dice. And those are So if you roll doubles, it becomes. So I'm just going to say this is a river. It goes out to the sea. Easy enough. And then up here, we have another city. All right. So we're going to head on down to that discovery we just found. And let's draw a card and see what we get. A red 8 for a discovery. Let's first we'll check our journey. An 8 is during your travels you were forced to pay your way. Who collected the toll? I just can't hold on to this money. I think that Astrid might have drawn too much attention uh, in Reach, and maybe the establishment, the city council, the older people, they didn't really. They found out she kind of sold a bunch of these drugs that she picked up from that other city, and they're not having it. So it was less a toll and more a shakedown. But that does get us to our discovery, which is a religious site crawling with worshippers to some long forgotten deity. What did the worshippers do to show their faith? How is their deity depicted? Gain 1 reputation. Um, so Adstrata does not have gods or religions or churches. So I'm not going to put so much of a religious bend to this, but I think that whenever this remnant of an ancient society um, kind of hidden away, I think I think for Astrid's story, it makes the most sense for them to worship through music. Um, uh, and so I think that's just kind of. I think maybe they have some giant, elaborate, like pipe organ type thing. It's like made out of built into like the trees, and it uses like just the natural environment, and it's like ornate and beautiful, and the people there like revere this location. Um, but nobody realized it was like a piano. And she comes in and Astrid's kind of, she tickles the ivories a little bit, and that really kind of, she gets to show off a little bit of her old self. Um, she can't take it with her, but while she is here, she gets a little bit of that former glory. Um, let's see, we have to name this location. Astrid's just going to call this place Song. Why not? Right. So then we go down to our rest phase. I lose the temporary die, lose my other die. That's going to be my biome die, and we have to go to the wilderness rest. Um, I'm going to roll a die to gain that much food. I'm going to say 3 because I need it. And I have to lose, so I'm going to lose a biome die. And then I will lose a food to gain a biome die. So down to my last 2 dice. So all right, on to the next round. So I just have 1 biome dice to throw. All right, and a biome of 1 is a forest. All right. And then you get 1 landmark, which is also an encampment. Let's go on our journey. To that first encampment. Right. So we have a 3 on our journey. A 3 being The journey was perilous, and you were put in harm's way. What dangers did I face? Gain a wound. Um, well, I think we're going to be reaching the end of the game soon. I'm running low on dice and resources. So, what was the prompt? What dangers did I face? I think I was like chased by wolves. Like Astrid's gotten a little too confident in herself and doesn't really never really picked up any ways to protect herself. And it's kind of just figured she'd be able to make it on her own. And I think she got ran down by some wolves and ended up breaking her ankle. So she's kind of slowing down. But she has reached an encampment. It's a black encampment and a 3. She finds a cozy lodge of fine construction. What services are offered here? Gain 1 wear. There's an asterisk, so I have to look up and see what that means. All right, so cozy lodge of fine construction. What services are offered here? Gain 1 wear. Um, hmm. What do they offer? Um, I think they offer, a nice place to stay, a nice meal, but what they don't offer is anything to do. And so I think kind of after taking a beating, Astrid kind of strolls in and uh, maybe she finds an old out of tune guitar or something up hanging on the wall, somebody who used to play there, and for the first time in maybe years, there's music in the lodge. And as with any good lodge, it will be the lumpy gnome. Um, all right. So we'll move on to the rest phase. Let's see. So I have to first I have to lose a die. We're going to go ahead and lose the biome die. Let's see. Oh, we have to see what the it's a it's an encampment, so the wear value is 1, so not any real reason to share or to sell my stuff. But I can heal, lose a coin, remove a wound. I can so I'm going to heal. So I'm going to lose 1 coin and heal my broken ankle. And then I'm going to sleep and I'm going to spend a food to gain 2 biome die. All right. So we've got 2 biome die. I'm going to roll until I get over in that right corner. All right. Biomes or 6s are same as the closest. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm gonna do like that. I'm also gonna say that this other 6 is over in this area, so I can do this. And have these 2. Oh, never mind. That's biomes. I keep confusing biome and landmark because landmarks are more interesting. All right. So you go away. You go away. Those can stay. But we'll have a mountain and a mountain. And then we have one landmark, which is in the middle of the ocean, and a landmark roll of 1 is nothing. So I know what that is. You don't, but I do. Right. Where am I going next? Um, I'm just gonna go to that next encampment. All right. So my journey is my journey's a 5. I meet a fellow traveler on my journey. What rumor did they tell me? Uh, and I gain a coin. Um, what rumor did they tell me? Let's see. What's something they could tell? Um, I think that maybe Astro. No. Maybe that there's been a rumor of a kind of renowned musician uh, traveling these parts on stilts with a lizard friend, and I think maybe Astrid's reputation has caught up to her, at least in some areas. So I think maybe she signed some autographs and made a little bit of money that way to take with her into the next area. So we have an encampment, which is red. A large campsite of some traveling people. Why are they out in the wilderness, and what story do they tell you? I may redraw the next card I draw in the arrival phase. So this has been something I've had in my mind for Adstrata for a bit. So I think she's come across like this is like an encampment of musicians. Um, they come from all over, um, and they this spot kind of in the middle of nowhere is their like meeting spot, um, and it's a place where traveling performers can kind of, if a group has been on the road for 6 months and they're looking to, change things up. Um, they can kind of come here and like join in with a new group, um, and it kind of keeps all of these traveling performer groups. Um, it lets them change up their repertoire. It lets them kind of explore different areas, try different things. Um, but this is also like a safe haven for them, where there's a little inn not too far away, um, that's kind of known to not have um, performers, so they can kind of be like, okay, we're not. Nobody's looking for us here. Nobody's expecting us because why would we be here and not there? So I think Astrid kind of like finds a little bit of the camaraderie that she kind of missed out on being like a solo performer, um, with this kind of group. And I think that it kind of opens up her eyes to maybe there's a way that she can do both, where she can still explore the world and see just the random sights, that this world has to offer, but still also, you know, kind of follow her original true love of music. So I think that's what these people hear, and I think the story that they tell her is, um, one of like, hey, if you want to, come back here, check things out, you're always welcome to. But if you head out in this direction, there's there's something really special there, um, that like we can't tell you. We're not going to tell you too much about it, but it's something that we all have experienced, and we think you should too. And so they kind of tell her, um, about this really inspiring, motivational place that she could travel to, and that's how we're gonna make it so that the next card I draw, I can swap it out for something, so, a little bit more interesting. Um, all right, so now I have to rest. Um, so I have to lose my die, so I'm back down to 1 and 1. I can. Let's see. I've got some food. I've got got some food. I've got some coin. Um, I think. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So, um, I'm going to lose a coin to gain a temporary die. I'm going to restock to gain a food. So I conversed, and then uh, he just kind of hung out with the people and shared stories. And then they were kind enough to share their food with me, so I was able to pack up for my next leg of my journey. So I've got oh, and what is this place called? I think so. I want to just call this place like there because I feel like it's a secret that they keep. Um, I'm gonna fancy that up a bit, and so this place is called it's Oerter, and it's Order. And so you can ask somebody like, "Oh, you heading over there? You been over there?" And that's if you know, you know. All right. So we've got one biome, one biome, one biome, which is I'll just say that's another mountain because there's a bunch of mountains there anyway. And then we got two landmarks. Well, one's nothing, so that's fine. Three is a town. T for town. Um, all right. So my plan was Astrid's plan was she was gonna head before this last stop. Her plan was to head south to the river or to the lake, and then kind of head back into the ocean to that discovery that's just kind of in the middle of the ocean, and just kind of get back onto her boat and just kind of go back out into the world. But I think maybe this latest stop has kind of motivated her to maybe not just head off and to find that middle ground between living a semi-normal life or just kind of being a rogue explorer. And I think she's she wants to see some of the what else this area has. So I think she's going to head up to this town. I think that's going to be her course of action. All right. So I get to draw a card. Let's see. So this is going to be a town. I kind of like that. And the journey. Hmm. Yeah, I can take the hit. So, um, I'll stick with this. During my travels, I witnessed something dreadful. What scared you about the encounter? Um, I think maybe Astrid just gets just robbed by bandits. Um, I think they knew she was on her way. She was again just kind of wandering through the middle of nowhere, and I think they found her and they took her stilts, and so she's gonna take a hit to her reputation because she's no longer the stilt based explorer. However, that's gonna take her to a town, and this town harbors two people living in harmony. How have their unique cultures combined? And he's gonna get a food there. Um, so I think if we take a look at the map, this is near the forest where she met the forest people, and it's also near a volcano. Um, and I went to the movies recently, and there was another trailer for the new Avatar: Fire and Ash. So I think maybe there's like these forest people and these volcano people, and like these one people are all about like fire and power, and these other people are all about like safety and kind of protecting themselves and nature. And I think through their mutual respect for like the natural forces of the world and um no, it's not a volcano there. I'm looking at my map wrong. Those are little rivers. So there's river people. So all right, works the same way. So the river people and the forest people, um, you know, the river ends up in the forest. So it's think maybe like the corner of this town is where that river kind of forms a little bit of a natural glade with the forest. Um, and I think that's kind of the place where these two people can come together and um, build off of what makes both of them strong. I think they get some, trade up the river. They get the safety of the forest, um, and then the town just kind of um, facilitates that for both of these people. So the people in the town are maybe like the middle ground. Um, so they're not like the forest people and they're not like the river people, but maybe these are a little bit more civilized people that just kind of want a normal town based life, and they're the middleman for these two ways of life. All right. So last thing we have to do, we have to go to the rest phase. Oh, I have to name the location. Um, I don't know why, but this place is named Par. Paar. I don't know. It just is. All right. Lose the temporary die. So that one's gone. Lose one remaining die. That one's gone. For a settlement. So we have to roll. So it's a 1. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got one more stop in me. I think that'd be a good place to end this. So, what do I need? Where do I want to go? What do I need? Um, I think that other discovery up in the middle of the map there. That's where we got sent. That's where we need to go. So I'm gonna need at least a food to get there. I've got 4, so I've got plenty of food. I've got no coin. Um, if I save 2 food, it's not a bad ending. So I can spend a food. Let's see. What would be fun? I don't have any money, so I can't buy anything. Um, I can. Even if I sell, I'm only going to get 1. I can gain aware. I don't need that. I don't need to heal. I don't really need to sleep. All right, I'm going to sell my 1 wear to get a coin, and then I'm going to use that coin um, to gain a temporary die. And I'm going to take 2 because I'm in town. So those are my actions. All right, we've got no biome die. I'm going to use all 3 of my die as landmark die. This is going to be our last roll. Not one of those landed in a reasonable place. Nope. Nope. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. All right. So, landmarks. Let's do our regions first. All right. And then we've got a discovery. And a settlement. And a city. I wanted there to be a city there. Perfect. In that case, we'll say that the place that we want to go to is the one down here. Makes more sense. So there we go. All right, Astrid, what are you up to? Let's see. Well, why not? We drew a Joker. Jokers are terrible things that happen to you. And why not do it right at the end of our story? All right, Jokers. Joker table. Let's see. So the one I have is unfortunately either color, and it's the first Joker. So it's either this new land is beginning to take a toll on your body. What unforeseen effect has it had on you? Or the people you had previously visited tracked you down and confront you. What did you do to insult them? How do you react? I think she's had a pretty good reputation this whole time. I don't think there's anybody that she's insulted. So I think we're gonna have to go with the this new land is beginning to take a toll on your body. Um, I want to do. Let's make it weird. Let's make it crazy. I feel like maybe like the stilt walking kind of like messes with your body. I feel like it like maybe that's the reason they all stay there is because they kind of have to stay on these stilts. Um, So this isn't like so far bad. So I don't want it to be like she can't play music anymore. Um, but I think maybe that um, that kind of snaggletooth grin, every girl, maybe that's it. Maybe that innocent snaggletooth kid kind of mystique that she like persona she had. Um, I think between all of the travel, everything she's seen, like she's like aged, her body's like aged significantly. Like so she's like not recognizable as like the young performer that she was. I'm not saying she's like an old crone, but I think she's like she's feeling the fact that that part of her life she even though she like told herself she was done with it, um, and then kind of had this revitalizing of like, oh, maybe I could have like both. Um, I think she's realizing like, no, you can't go back to. She can't go back to that. Um, that's it's just not going to be possible for her. She's never going to be able to be that. She's not going to be able to be that kid again. She's moved on to something else. She's somebody different now. So then we have to continue on. So the journey is. I think we're just gonna skip that and just get to. Oh, that would be funny. Um, so I'm not going to use any of what I just drew because it's like stuff we've already seen before, and so I think she makes it to this kind of spot on the coast. Um, oh, that's not it. All right, let's. I don't. All right, we're just gonna go with this one. Um, Here she finds the remnants of a crashed vehicle. What journal did you find in the wreckage? Name the waters beyond a coastline and extend the coastline. So first, um, it's an aerial vehicle for sure. Um, and it contains the diaries of um, above, of somebody's, of these people's exploration of above. And uh, there's some notes about how they were going to um, go down, and that they were really excited for uh, what they were going to find down there, and um, that they were excited to be like explore this new world, and they were going to be brave new explorers, and it was going to be something new and monumental, and none of their people had ever done that or been there before. Um, and like the last entry is they're like, okay, tomorrow's going to be the day. Tomorrow we're gonna go down, and that's the last log. So something happened, um, and it kind of breaks Astrid's heart a little bit, because like that was her, and like she lost her means of conveyance, and things broke down in a way for her that she didn't think was going to happen, and uh, she doesn't find anybody there. There's no bodies, so maybe the people made it out, and maybe they were able to continue on and actually explore. And so she's a little bit optimistic that okay, this might not have worked out the way they wanted it to, but they get to explore this new place, and now she can too. Um, and let's see. Um, all right, I have to do my normal etymology breakdown of. Um, so I want to call. Oh, so I wanted to call this place Inspiration. It's kind of her final inspiration, motivation. But I like to look at the etymology of things and kind of mess up the wordplay a little bit of it. And so if you look up inspiration on Wikipedia, and you go to the etymology under English, under the pronunciation, they have a rhyming guide, so the rhymes, um, which I'm unfamiliar with exactly what any of this uh, these letters mean. Um, however, it kind of looks like it says Eifen. So Eifen. And I think that's going to be the name of the place. So I think that's going to be the end of Astrid's story. She's found inspiration, and um, she could, I mean, from where she is now, she could go anywhere. She's right near that other, she's right by Ordair, and she could head there and kind of move on her way. She's on the coast. She could get back in a boat and head back to where she came from if she wanted to. She can go off exploring in other places. She could kind of do whatever she wants. So she's kind of explored. You know, this certainly, if we look at this map, there's a ton more detail to this. Um, you know, a lot more cities, a lot more, you know, or a lot more places, a lot more, uh, you know, geological components. So, um, yeah, this has been Cartograph again by Brendan Lee um, and the Ravens Ridge Emporium. It's available now. You can find it digitally. You can order print versions. Um, I think we got a pretty good kind of map adventure out of this. Um, there's still some things that we never got to explore um, that I can later. Oh, and there's still some mystery on this map. And there's still some blank spaces. So it's not all filled in. We've definitely got some regions. Um, so that's gonna be it. That's going to be this episode of Creating a World at Strata. Um, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for watching this playthrough of Cartograph. Um, so this will be this month's episode. Still working on the next episode of the podcast. That'll be up at the end of the month. This channel is mostly going to now be Strata based stuff and just my personal whatevers. Um, if you want to find out, um, well, please, if you enjoy this, please like, please subscribe. So you're going to be seeing more of these kinds of videos. Um, if you're interested in the other stuff we're doing, I encourage you to check out my Patreon, which is also Dante Pendragon. On there, I put um, the unedited versions of some of my things. I put stuff up early. You'll get access to my Discord server. Um, yeah. So please check those out. Please check out the other videos on here. Please check out the podcast, Escape from a Noble Conservatory, coming back this month. Um, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and Hello? Wonderful. Okay. All right. So we have to go back to the beginning. We've missed 42 minutes of me talking.